Hello friends and welcome to a new Nitty video. My name is Céline and today is the first day of spring and you know what that means. It is time to share my selection of spring knits for this year. And today is a wondrous, stunning day, so I thought I would take you along on a very long walk. I plan to be out and roam around the city of London for however many hours my legs can stand. Here and there, I'll stop, pull my camera out, chat with you friends about some fun patterns for this new season. How exciting! Ever since I started planning for this video, I knew that I had to include the apple flower sweater by Clara Eggers. This is a design included in the 52 Weeks of Sweaters book by Line Publishing. It just recently came out, and it's 100% the sweater in that book that stands out to me. And I feel like a lot of people have said that because it's just so cute. It's those flowers stacked on top of those stripes. It's the colors that she used for the sample just really sell the fantasy in my opinion. And it just makes me so happy. I really recommend you check out Clara Eggers as a designer in general because she really deserves the attention. She has the cutest, most wholesome and whimsy designs. There's definitely a childlike quality in a lot of them, but I say this in the best way possible. Let me put my camera down because my arm is already tired. The apple flower sweater is actually worked bottom up, which is usually a construction that I steer away from just because I don't find it as entertaining. But this is an all-over colorwork piece, which means you're doing colorwork right off the bat, which makes everything super fun. In fact, in this case, it might be better to start with the body rather than with the yoke so that you can kind of get a hang of the colorwork without having to think about the raglan and the decreases and all of that. So as much as I don't usually prefer bottom up, I feel like it would be really fun in this situation. The gauge on this is 18 stitches, so it is a worsted weight project, which also means it's nice and speedy. She uses a DK and a lace weight held together. I really adore the look of the decreases on the raglan. I think they're so cute and decorative. An absolute 10 out of 10 from me. Another spring sweater that is the absolute dreamiest is the Flirt pullover by Sophie Tulip. I don't think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry. I feel quite funny showing you two floral patterns in a row because it obviously reminds me of that scene in The Devil Wears Prada. Florals for spring? Groundbreaking. What stands out to me with this pattern is the insane construction. They classify it as iconic in the pattern description, but it is a very peculiar way of creating a garment. It doesn't go too much in depth in the pattern description on Ravelry, but I believe you create these humongous panels. I'm talking a lot of stitches. I don't know how many, but a lot. Possibly that reach from arm to arm, and then you seam the two together. They do say that you need a sewing machine for it, which for example, I don't have, but I would see if I could go on about it, maybe crocheting the two pieces together, which I'm sure you can do, or if you're fussed, hand sewing, but I absolutely despise hand sewing, so I would probably go for the crochet. And I'm sure that would work just fine. Just like in the first pattern I showed you, I feel like the colorwork in this one really breaks up the monotony of the knit and makes it really fun. It's worked on 6mm needles, so all in all, really doable. It seems like she uses some sort of brushed alpaca or suri silk style fiber, which makes for a very airy and whipped garment. What I also really like is the extreme bagginess of it. Like there is so much fabric there that's so far away from your skin, so it really allows for air to flow, which I think is the perfect compromise for a spring garment. You still want that coverage, but then you don't want it to be right up against you so that you're absolutely suffocating. So I really like that combination of construction paired with this specific type of fiber. I love how in the sample she paired it with this long cream skirt. I think the two pieces pair marvelously. It's so feminine and refined and classy, but with a hint of playfulness in there because of the flowers and the color. What the helly, helicopter? Also, I adore the lines of the seam that trail all across the top of the arms. Also borders the neck edge and the hem. It's a really cute detail that kind of wraps everything in a nice little bow. Friends, look how pretty this is. The next design is very exciting, so different than anything I have ever seen. Now, the reason I found these is because I went looking for them. I'm planning in the future to make something like this. I would love to have this in my design portfolio. But for now, I found these Majestic novel cuffs wristlets. I know this may not be everybody's cup of tea, but it is mine, 100%. These are basically knitted bracelets. You can add them to any outfit and they will literally zhuzh it up, zhuzh the life out of that outfit. It makes my heart skip a beat how special and unique of a piece this is. By the way, the pattern is by Odeya Knit Studio, I forgot to mention. These cuffs are worked flat from the wrist upward, then transition into a flounce. I've never heard of that word. So the ribbed section is worked holding 2 strands together, so merino and mohair, and then the flounce part is just the lace weight mohair to make it super floofy and light. The transition that results from holding 2 strands together and then just one, I think is so beautiful and very unique. One of my favorite pieces that I've made, which is the Je ne sais quoi cardigan by Moonchain, has something similar going on where the bodice is made in a non-fluffy yarn and then the sleeves are 2 strands of like brushed alpaca, so it's like super floofy. That different texture is really striking. The details here are just so delightful. The cuff is worked in this mini cable pattern, and the fact that the cuff is adorned with 2 buttons. Hello, it's so cute. The right and left cuffs are mirrored for symmetry, including crossed stitches and buttonhole placement. So clever. But now let's talk about the flounce. She is so beautiful, the most gorgeous dainty lace pattern, and I love how the edge turns out. It's like kind of pointy, I don't know what it's called, but it's absolutely stunning. And it looks like there are some bubble stitches here and there. I'm usually not a fan of bubble stitches. I think they're just too big and too bulky, but made in the lace weight yarn, they just remain super soft and fluffy. So this would probably be one of the very few times that I would actually make a bubble stitch when the pattern calls for it, because I usually skip it. Also, this queen in the sample photos wears 2 pairs stacked on top of each other, which I think is such a look. I would totally do that. Double the pizzazz and double the drama. I'm all here for it. Friends, I'm with Margot.
Hello. Hi, friends.
She joined me. She's currently working, but she's taking a lunch break. We had a salad.
It was a very good salad with a lot of Dijon moutarde. So my nose is a bit
on fire. I thought we would talk about the next pattern together.
Yes.
So I have selected the Pilaga midi tunic dress by June Lagoon.
Sounds very fancy.
I picked this pattern because I thought it was very peculiar, very different from a lot of things that I've seen. Might not be everyone's cup of tea. I'm kind of into it. How are you feeling?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it would look on me.
This is basically like a tight-fitting blouse / dress with a super high slit. It's so high that it can't really be a dress because it's very revealing otherwise.
I think it would also be a very nice dress pattern.
Yeah. I guess if you do the slit slightly lower, it would be absolutely fabulous. I do agree, of course, with knitting, you can customize as much as you want. The point here is really to wear it with trousers underneath, like the way she is wearing it, which I've seen a lot of Scandi, like fashion girls do, where either dresses over jeans and stuff like that. So that reminds me of that.
It's the 90s coming back.
With a nice skirt, imagine that. Those really cute, like almost pajama looking trousers that are like striped, blue and white.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Because I would choose other colors.
Yeah, she went for like a Halloween-y vibe. I would definitely go for,
spring.
Let me guess, you would go for lavender. It's perfect for spring because it's worked in a DK weight yarn. Looks amazing wore over pants, skirts, dresses, or over a bikini.
Yes, that's the vibe. It's more the vibe that I'm... Yeah, the pants and the bikini. Yes, very nice.
A beach cover-up.
And then it doesn't matter that you have a high split on the side.
I love the versatility. We love when you can do that with a pattern because it's good for spring, but then you can also wear it in the summer, in the evenings, at the beach club or whatever.
It's a bit more chilly, or you have to go indeed to like a beach party.
We love that, June Lagoon. She uses bamboo yarn. Have you ever touched bamboo yarn?
Probably.
It's so soft.
Oh, soft?
It is so soft. It's crazy.
Okay.
And it's very flimsy.
That's not what was in my head. I thought it was more sturdy bamboo. Because if it's on your skin over a bikini, it needs to be something soft, not very scratchy.
No. Bamboo is perfect. Like, I literally cannot imagine anyone feeling itchy from bamboo yarn. I would love to diversify my wardrobe and make things that are a bit weird like that.
Go for it.
Go for it. All right, that's that. Now Margot wants to pick up a chai, don't you?
I would love a good chai.
Let's go. Peep St. Paul's Cathedral in the background, looking mighty majestic. I haven't talked about socks on my channel for absolute ages, so it's time to bring them back and appreciate them as a knit, because as much as I don't really enjoy knitting socks because, well, first of all, I get second sock syndrome, and then I've never tried knitting two socks at the same time because I don't like doing magic loop. I like working my socks on shorties. The other reason is actually that I don't like the fact that you don't really see them unless it is springtime. I think spring could be the time I can start considering to let my ankles out. I wanted to show you the cactus flower socks. You see, I was in absolute awe when I saw this lace/cabling motif. It literally looks like a plant, which to me is so fascinating when knitting does that, resembles something so closely without having to resort to color work, but it does it with just stitches and texture. I think that's so fascinating. The cuff is so cute. It looks like it begins with a couple of rounds of pearl or something, and then it goes into a short ribbed section. Then that's outlined with a round of eyelets, and that's when it flows into the body of the sock with those plant-like motifs. Each plant stalk, if we want to call it, is alternated and divided with a column of knit stitches, which looks so clean and neat. You know what's also super neat on this? The gusset. It's really well executed, and it looks really comfortable too. It says the beauty of prickly pear cacti in bloom are captured in the lacy flowers and cabled spines of these socks. This pattern is by Laura Fallon, by the way. Forgot to mention, St. Paul's is having a little sing-a-song because it's 4 p.m. Oh, the sky is so blue, I love it. It looks like the heel is worked in a slip stitch pattern, which gives the socks some nice strength for durability. And you know, because I'm extra, if I were ever to make these, I would probably modify the cuff and start with a ruffled edge. You know, go big or go home. So springy, so sweet. I imagine wearing them with a cute pair of loafers, a cute flowy cream girly blouse, maybe with some lace on it. I'm glad I brought a sock into the mix. I missed talking about socks. Now I want to head towards the river. It is a little bit hard to film on my own because I just don't know where to prop my camera, but we make it work with my little tripod. Guys, I'm taking a break for the most embarrassing reason. So I sat on the grass, and I did bring a little tea towel to sit on. So whatever, I sat on it for like 10 minutes. And then I got up, and look, I got these 2 wet patches. Bum height, obviously. It is so embarrassing. I can't walk around with that. So yeah, now I took it off in hopes that it would dry a little bit. Anyways, I'll take the opportunity to talk about the next pattern, which is the Singapore side zip jacket by Made by Roche. Lately, I've seen so many patterns on Instagram by Made by Roche, and they are all so snatched. I adore her style. It's very cool girl, and I think what's super special about her patterns is that they're entirely made to measure, which is a very rare feature for knitting patterns. I have seen it way more in the crochet world, but here she just does it made to measure, which is insane. You need to measure your body using the guide that she puts together in the pattern, and you essentially plug all your numbers into a Google Sheets that she has linked in her pattern, and it does the math for you, and it comes up with all the different stitch counts that are targeted and customized to fit you exactly. It is pretty much what it says on the tin, so it has this beautiful side zip that trails down across the side of the body. What stood out to me is the section where the side zip is sewn in. Are they called the plackets? But it almost looks like an I-cord where the zip is. But the main character in this design for me is the little zip on the sleeves. I need to change arm. My muscle hurts. I don't think I've ever seen a knitting pattern with zips on the sleeve. The attention to detail here, it's amazing. It fits her like a glove. I love the turtleneck. It's so flattering on. I love the shaping on the sleeves. It's just so harmonious to look at. And I have said it a few times in my videos, recently, I don't know why, I've been so obsessed with asymmetry in my clothing, so this side zip really hits the spot for me. I've just scrolled through her sample photos and she's wearing a red version, and this one seems to have less positive ease, so I assume there's maybe an option to kind of adjust the fit, have it be more oversized if you please, or tight fitting if you prefer. Oh my gosh, of course, because it's made to measure, it is suitable for any yarn weight. There is options to have different ease, exactly, that's what I was saying, as well as center zip versus side zip. I really do appreciate when a pattern has different options that you can choose from. That's really clever. The spreadsheet will even tell you estimates of yarn needed based on your body measurements and the yarn you're using. Girl, there's not much else I can say to praise this pattern even further. I feel like Made by Rosh has everything covered. You go, girl. You slayed. You know what, friends? It looks like the cheeks have dried, which is great because I'm actually freezing. I need to put my coat back on. And that was all I recorded on my walk this weekend. It is now a couple days later and I'm back to resume talking about my spring knitting pattern list of favorites. You know I love an original, almost far-fetched pattern, and I found one that's exactly that. This is the Snakan project bag. I'll speak for myself, but as a knitter, I don't think I've ever thought of knitting the project bag that I will use to store my knitting works in progress in. It's like a whole situation of inception. This pattern is by Maya Carlson and it's worked with sport weight yarn, 21 stitch gauge. The pattern is a free download on Ravelry and we love to see that. Apparently this project bag is adapted from the Havskrift pullover. I butchered that 100%. So if you really like the colorwork, there's the sweater option for you too. It is a beautiful two-stranded colorwork design and it's meant to resemble shells. Now, at first glance when I saw it, I thought those were peacocks with their tails fanned out, which is pretty specific, but you know, either way, it's super cute. The two bands of shells are bordered by these really pretty chevron motif trims. The bag has a soft rounded base and a flexible drawstring opening. It is the perfect size for a knitting project, but of course, you can use it for whatever you want. Perfect for traveling. I would put like my socks in there or like small items of clothing like that. And to be honest, the shape also reminds me of a hot water bottle, so it probably could also function and double up as a hot water bottle cover. It would be an awesome stash buster, especially if you've just finished a two-stranded colorwork sweater and you've got yarn left over from that. You can just use the same colors to make this little project bag. Lately, I have been really good at limiting my yarn purchases and sticking to my yarn scraps, leftovers, and just anything in my stash. And there is nothing else that screams spring clean louder than that. Spring is the season of rebirth. If you want to feel reborn, use up your yarn stashes. All right, next pattern. I adore the look of the Natalia dress by Maria's Verdun. Look how pretty and elegant and springy, and that open back. Oh my goodness, with the little ties at the top. And the bell sleeves. You friends, if you watch my videos, you know that I'm so obsessed with bell sleeves. Whatever has bell sleeves, whatever has like droopy sleeves and they're kind of like flowy and moving with my arms, I'm sold. I love that it's a little bit relaxed, you know, where you can feel comfortable. You don't feel like you're like sucked into something. It's demure and then it's mildly daring with the open back. I don't think I have any open back garments. Not one. Am I gonna have to knit this? I think I will. 21 stitch gauge seems to be a popular one, but she goes for a very interesting yarn combination. She uses Knitting for Olive pure silk held together with Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair. I have used both of these yarns separately, but I'm so intrigued about knitting them together. The pure silk is one of my favorite fibers. It is so scrumptious and so special in its texture. It's quite hard to explain actually, but also another reason why I love it is because of its thermal properties. It keeps you nice and cool in the summer, but also keeps you nice and warm in the winter. So it's really, really versatile in that sense. So I 100% agree that this is a perfect fiber for spring. Now, considering that I live in the UK and it is still pretty cold in spring, I really love the idea of adding a bit of warmth with the soft silk mohair. And I bet you the texture of the two together is divine. The dress is worked seamlessly top down, first working back and forth and then in the round using circular needles. I love to see that the pattern includes instructions for how to alter the dress dress to fit your body perfectly. I definitely deem that essential when it comes to knitting a skirt or a garment that involves a skirt section. I learned this while writing my Suki skirt pattern, which is currently in testing, that waist to hip circumference ratios vary so much from person to person. I feel like it's the most non-standardized measurement ever. So it was essential for me to add customization tips multiple times throughout the pattern at every single step to ensure that the skirt would fit like a glove for everyone. So we love to see that Maria did that as well. The dress is finished with a folded edge at the bottom. It makes it look very tailored, almost as if you sewed down a hem, if that makes sense. I have been talking about making myself a dress for so long. Is 2026 my year? Also, I wanted to show you these tulips that I got the other day because they are so stunning. Why did I not know that tulips could look like this? They are gorgeous. I love them so much. Let me show the other bouquet that I got. These are not looking as healthy, but I could not pass on the little flower cup. Look how cute they are. And I put it in my farfalla pasta vase because purple and yellow are complementary colors and they look fabulous together. Yeah, they're a little bit dead here at the bottom, but the top ones, it is some proper Barbie Fairytopia stuff. To match the aesthetic of these flowers, how do you like the Poppy Vest by Marianne Stevens? The poppy vest is not a new pattern to me. I'm not sure why this is my first time talking about it on my channel because look at it. Obviously, the overall color work is the most striking thing about this piece. But the reason I find it so charming is its vintage quality. There is something so lived in about it, but in the best way possible. It just looks like one of those shocking thrift finds. It glows from afar and you start hearing angel songs and you forget what your name is. Or it looks like a family heirloom, something you've inherited from your grandmother when she was 18 years old, sort of thing. It's so beautiful. Of course, vests are the ultimate transitional piece, which makes them perfect for spring. I think my favorite thing are the edges. Is it corrugated rib? The designer switches colors throughout the ribbing so it doesn't look like your typical solid color ribbing, which is how everyone goes about it. The edging is so unique on this one. The designer uses Jamieson's of Shetland Spindrift Shetland wool yarn, circularly knit in traditional style using steeks with no reinforcement. Friends, I need to steek. I've never steeked in my life. This method demands traditional 100% wool yarn. I feel like it's a very important detail that I must mention. No superwash wools or non-wool yarns. This would be so cute paired with a really stylish shirt underneath, a dark brown skirt, and then some cute loafers, maybe with a spring sock and some ruffly cuffs. Very cute. If you're on the lookout for a new cardigan pattern, I highly recommend you check out the Arlington cardigan by Lily Kate France. This is a kind of design that I wish I had come up with because it's so up my street. It's wonderful. I'm mainly talking about the waist shaping. I feel like the figure can really get lost in cardigans most of the time, but this one just accentuates all the right things in the right places. I then love the juxtaposition of the slightly loose sleeves. The fit of this is truly so unique and couldn't mention another pattern that kind of looks like this. Not even kind of, you know? I love the button band. I love the ribbing. I love the little details at the drop shoulder where the panels meet the sleeves. The Arlington cardigan is for the days that call for something a little bit more tailored. A fitted silhouette and neat finishing details make for an elegant cardigan to elevate your everyday outfits. This would look divine with a slip silk skirt. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, and then it also has some pearl details trailing down the sides of the body under the arm. Point of interest for when you lift your arms that you wouldn't expect. She's like, ooh, there's a little pearl line. To be fair, Lily Kate has a lot of patterns I can think of that lend themselves to the spring aesthetic, I think. So check her out if you haven't already. She's so amazing. She's been doing this for so long despite being so young. I don't think I've talked about a little mini scarf yet. It is essential to pull out your little mini scarf in the spring season. I've been wearing my mini scarves to death lately. They are my lifeline. They are my only certainty. And I'm actually currently knitting one and I can't remember what it's called. I am making the Jolie scarf by Milot. It's in the other room. I'm not gonna go bother pick it up because it really needs blocking anyway and it's really hard to show what it's looking like, but it's so cute. It's got this very simple lace stitch pattern and then it's got little ruffles at each end. How springy and cutesy is this? I cannot wait to have it. I'm making it in navy blue because some time ago I lost my navy blue mini scarf, which was my most worn one. It's just the color that I reach out for the most. So I really needed to make a replacement and this is what I'm making. Anyways, that was originally not on my list of patterns to share. So let's go back to the pattern I was intending to speak about, which is the Scalloped scarf by Odd Row. Look at that little point and the scalloped edges and those little eyelets within the scallops. I'm obsessed with it. I will be making it at some point. I do have a lot of single cashmere skeins that I intend to make mini scarves with because I genuinely need them so bad in all the colors. This will be one pattern that I'll use eventually. This is a scarf in garter stitch with a scalloped edge. The fine lace edging is knitted along the way and there is no assembly, so it's all seamless, very ergonomic and hassle-free. The scarf can be knitted in exactly the yarn and size you want, which I love this about little mini scarves. You don't really have to fuss around gauge and, you know, getting the correct yarn. You can kind of use whatever you want, which also means it's flexible to stash busting. It's very classy, refined, and elegant. It also gives me quite vintage vibes for some reason. Once again, I mean that in the best way possible. It just has such a timeless quality, which to me is a big criteria when picking designs to knit because I want to be wearing something I make hopefully forever. So this would totally be one of those. I think I'm going to take a little break now because the weather is gorgeous and I want to go for a walk before sunset. I'm going to catch up with you later for the last couple of spring patterns. And it is another new day. I have been so distracted by this wonderful weather. I've just been going out and walking and walking and walking like my life depends on it, and walking and doing some more walking and absorbing the sun rays and walking. I really hope you can't hear my dishwasher in the background. She's having a full-on concert. You think you're Beyonce. But anyway, I only have a few more patterns to share for this video that I really wanted to include in the spring compilation. I have a mild feeling that I may have already included this pattern in another knit picks video, but I don't remember for sure, so I'm gonna say that never happened. We gotta include the Pleti dress after all. This is a pattern by Nina Lackman and it is so cutesy. I always point out when things are versatile because I feel like that's such a strength, and the Pleti dress is a reversible dress. You can wear it back to front, front to back, whatever way you like. Both front and back are v-necks, but one is scoopier, it's deeper, so you can decide where to have that, at the front or at the back. It's so cool that it makes it look like two different dresses. One day you can wear it with more of an open back, and the next you can have a little more of a deep plunge at the neckline. This piece is worked seamlessly top down. It's designed to be bra friendly so that you can conceal your undergarments very easily. I appreciate that in a tank toppy, strappy top situation because it's always a bit of a faff to have to deal with that. The top is fitted and is actually worked on a smaller needle size compared to what you use for the skirt, which I thought was really interesting. As an optional detail, you can knit an I-cord belt, and this helps to emphasize the waist and make sure that the weight of the fabric in the dress is distributed optimally. There are many photos on the pattern listing. Some include the I-cord belt, some don't, so you can see how that differs. If I were to make this, I would definitely go for the I-cord belt. It really helps to create a very tailored transition from the top to the skirt portion. And look how cute that detail on the v-neck is. I think this is some sort of cabling. The two sides sort of overlap with each other. That is a very subdued characteristic, but it really adds character and thought to this whole construction. I also really like the placement of the shaping. I believe that placement is called like a princess seam, where the decreases are distributed in two sections at the front under the bust. I think it's so elegant. Depending on the yarn you use for this, it can totally be a summer piece as well, of course. So that's really nice that you can wear it across more than only one season. So you can make it in the spring, wear it in the spring, but then also extend its life that year to the summer. And then, you know, eventually you're gonna have to put it away and wait for the next year. But you know. I mean, you can always layer things. You could be wearing this deep into the autumn. If your winter is not too frigid, you could also wear it in winter if you layer it up with a bunch of thermals and sweaters over it and, you know, fleece tights or whatever. You do you. In fact, I think that's a very important skill to have and learn. I definitely need to learn this more, is to be able to transform your summer and spring pieces into wearable items for other seasons too, so that you can really make the most out of everything that you have in your wardrobe. Moving on to the next pattern, which is the Tulip Twirl skirt by Mipi the Label. Look how cute this is. This is essentially a 3-tiered skirt where each tier is characterized by a different lace stitch pattern. You can actually knit this skirt in 2 different versions. The first one being this 70s inspired midi skirt with the 3 lace sections. Or you can do a mini skirt where you only expand on 1 lace stitch pattern and don't do the other 2. The tulip skirt is worked top down, so you can easily adjust the lengths. For example, for me, that's essential because I have quite short legs. So I find that most midi skirts on others are actually maxi skirts on me. So if I do want to aim for a midi skirt length, I can adjust it easily since this is made top down. It has got a half twisted rib waistband with a seamless elastic casing. If you go for the mini skirt option, you will add some eyelets at the front to include some ties. There is shaping for the hips with increases, and there are 3 options for the hip sizing to create a perfect custom fit because, as we said earlier, waist to hip circumferences vary so much from person to person, so it's good to see that she includes this and she keeps this in mind. The mini skirt is finished with a dramatic ruffle hem. I love a ruffle. Whereas the midi skirt has more of a subdued edge. It's kind of like a fanned scalloped style stitch. It's very beautiful, but obviously you can kind of interchange all sections. If you want to put the ruffle on the midi skirt, you can do that. It's all in the same pattern. I actually have made a similar skirt in the past, my flow knit skirt by Moonchain, and it is one of my most treasured pieces that I've ever made. And I eventually would love to make another one, and this is a perfect contender. I would probably go for a nice sage green, maybe light blue. I do wear blue a lot, to be fair. Something pastel to show off the different sections. And especially if you make the midi length, I'm telling you, there is nothing like the feeling of wearing such a piece that you made stitch by stitch with your own 2 little hands. The romantic, soft, cottagecore style of this piece is really appealing to me. So girly, perfect for the spring weather because you've got those eyelets so it's not super heavy on you and super warm. I also do recommend you check out more pieces from this designer. She makes a lot of bohemian, feminine, and vintage inspired patterns, and they're all really cute for spring. Friends, we're on to the last pattern. This one encompasses spring so strong. This is the Cherry Bloom cardigan by Lene Tosti. I have butchered so many names in this video. I mean, look at it. It is so cute. And the colorwork is crazy accurate. It's so realistic. At first glance, I almost thought it was printed on because the flow and the placement of the branches and the flowers is so organic and not your typical super geometric and lined up colorwork, if that makes sense. So I was really impressed by that. Look at this version with the aqua green / blue. It reminds me of the Arizona tea. I love the button band. What is it? I don't think it says in the pattern description. Is it like broken rib, corrugated broken rib? Some versions have it knitted in 1 color, others in 2, or I can't really tell, but I love the look of that button band. I don't know what is up with all these patterns giving you so many options to choose from, but I am absolutely all here for it. That's amazing. So with this one, there are 4 alternatives for shaping the body: straight, lightly shaped, medium shaped, and very shaped. There are also 2 alternatives for the sleeves: normal and narrow, and the round yoke is identical regardless of which body shape you choose. I think I would go for this one in the gray. I assume this is very shaped with narrow sleeves because it also has the princess seams, like the decreases at the bust in the front that I was talking about. It's so pretty. Something about the whimsy of the flowers lends itself really well to this being more of a fitted garment, but I mean, it looks really good even in the straight version. This is such a picnic cardigan, isn't it? With a white cotton skirt and some sandals, holding a little weave basket with all your yummy goodies inside. And with that, I think we're done with the spring knit patterns. I really hope you enjoyed this selection, and of course, I highly encourage you to share your spring knit pics in the comment section. Maybe your favorite spring yarn, I'd love to know that too. And on top of that, of course, please let me know what's currently on your needles. Also, let me know how you've been spending these first few glimpses of floral weather. I'm off to edit this video now. Tomorrow I'll be leaving for Cologne or H&H, the yarn crafts, fiber arts trade show. I'll be vlogging the whole thing, so that will be my next vlog and I'm very excited to share it with you. I can't wait. I love a little weekend trip. So I thank you so much for sticking till the end of this video. I really appreciate the company. I will leave my Instagram on screen in case you'd like to follow my creations more in real time. I will say bye for now and I hope to see you in the next one.